जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी पवसुते तुझे स्वये वेणुं शिरसि सिगिपुच्छं कदिदते तुङ्गूलं नेत्रान्ते साक्षरात्तदर्थं विदधते सदा श्रीमद्वृन्दावनवसुलीला परिचयो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी पवसुते मोहम्बोधि तीरे कनकदुतिरे नीलशिखरे प्रशान्त सगजफलपत्रेण फलिना सुभद्रामध्यसुरसुगलसेवावसरतो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे कृपापारावारा सजद जलदा सेनिरुचिरो रमावाणी रमास्फुरकमलकौत्रेण मुखा उदेन्द्रेराराधियत्कुर्मिकानदीपचरितो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे तदारूढो गच्छन् भजनमिदवभूदेव पदलयिता सुदीप्रवक्तुं प्रतिपदम् उपहर्य सदया दया सिन्धु बन्धु सकलजगदां सिन्धु सदयो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे परब्रह्मा पीठा कुवलयदलो रुद्रनयनो विपासी नीलाब्धौ विदितचरणो नन्दशिरसि रसानन्दो राधा सरसवरालिङ्गनसुतो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे न वै याति राज्यं न स जनकमाणिक्यवैभवं न यास्यहं रम्यां चरचरकाम्यां वरवधूं सदा काले काले ब्रह्मवदिनः गीतचरितो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे हरत्वं संसारं कृतधरं मसारं सुरपते हरत्वं पावनं विदितम् अमरं यादवपते अहो दीनेनादेशकृते शरणो निश्चितमिदं जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पदकामी पवतु मे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा
இறைவன் பாதுகாப்பு மற்றும் நல்வாழ்வுக்காக நடைபெற்று ஸ்ரீ நரசிம்ம அஷ்டோத்தரம் அர்ச்சனையை இன்று கருதுரை சம்பூர்த்திய மாதர்ஜி அவர்களின் உடல் ஆரோக்கியம் மற்றும் பாதுகாப்பிற்காக பகவான் ஸ்ரீ ஸ்ரீ கலா நரசிம்ம தேவர்கள் நம்ம சிறப்பு பிரார்த்தனை இருக்கின்றோம். ஓம் அஞ்ஞானாதிமிராந்தஸ்ய ஞானாஞ்சனசலாகயா சக்ஷுருன்மிலிதம் येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी भाषात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. जय नरसिंह श्री नरसिंह जय जय श्री नरसिंहदेव प्रह्लादेश जय पद्मा मुखापद्मा भृंगा विक्रम वीरम महाविष्णुं जलंधम सर्वतोमुखम नरसिंहं बीजनं भद्रं मृत्युर्नमाम्यहम्. ओम नरसिंहाय नमः. ओम महासिंहाय नमः. ओम दिव्यसिंहाय नमः. ओम महाबलाय नमः. ओम उग्रसिंहाय नमः. ओम महादेवाय नमः. ओम संपजाय नमः. ओम उग्रलोचनाय नमः. ओम रौद्राय नमः. ओम सर्वात्मदाय नमः. ओम श्रीमनाय नमः. ओम योहानंदाय नमः. ओम त्रिविक्रमाय नमः. ओम हरिणे नमः. ओम कोलाहलाय नमः. ओम शत्रुने नमः. ओम विजयाय नमः. जयवर्धनाय नमः. ओम पांजननाय नमः. ओम परब्रह्माय नमः. ओम अघोराय नमः. ओम घोरविक्रमाय नमः. ओम जलान्मुखाय नमः. ओम जलामालिने नमः. महाज्वलाय नमः. ओम महाप्रभुवाय नमः. ओम निधिलक्षाय नमः. ओम सहस्राक्षाय नमः. ओम सुनिरीक्षाय नमः. ओम प्रतापनाय नमः. ओम महादंष्टाय नमः. ओम विदप्रज्ञाय नमः. ओम संतगोपिने नमः. ओम सदाशिवाय नमः. ओम हिरण्यकशिपुतंसिने नमः. ओम दैत्यदानवमर्जननाय नमः. ओम गुणभद्राय नमः. ओम महाभद्राय नमः. ओम बलभद्राय नमः. ओम सुभद्राय नमः. ओम करलाय नमः. ओम विकरणाय नमः. ओम विकर्ताय नमः. ओम सर्वकार्तिकाय नमः. ओम शिशुमाराय नमः. ओम त्रिलोकात्माय नमः. ओम ईशाय नमः. ओम सर्वेश्वराय नमः. ओम विभुवाय नमः. ओम पैगम्बराय नमः. ओम दिव्याय नमः. ओम अच्युताय नमः. ओम कामिने नमः. ओम माधवाय नमः. ओम अधोक्षजाय नमः. ओम अक्षराय नमः. ओम शर्वाय नमः. ओम मनमालिने नमः. ओम वरप्रदाय नमः. ओम विश्वम्भराय नमः. ओम अद्भुताय नमः. ओम आर्याय नमः. ओम श्री विष्णवे नमः. ओम पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः. ओम अनगस्त्राय नमः. ओम नगस्त्राय नमः. ओम सूर्यज्योतिने नमः. ओम सुरेश्वराय नमः. ओम सहस्रभागाय नमः. ओम सर्वज्ञाय नमः. ओम सर्वसिद्धिप्रदायकाय नमः. ओम वज्रदंष्टाय नमः. ओम वज्रनखाय नमः. ओम महानंदाय नमः. ओम परमभवाय नमः. ओम सर्वमंत्रैकरूपाय नमः. ओम सर्वेन्द्रविदारमाय नमः. ओम सर्वतंत्रात्मकाय नमः. ओम अव्यक्ताय नमः. ओम सुव्यक्ताय नमः. ओम भक्तवत्सलाय नमः. ओम वैशाखशुक्लबुधोत्ताय नमः. ओम शरणागतवत्सलाय नमः. ओम उदारकीर्तिने नमः. ओम पुण्यात्माय नमः. ओम महात्माय नमः. ओम चंद्रविक्रमाय नमः. ओम वेदात्रेयाय नमः. ओम प्रविद्याय नमः. ओम भगवानाय नमः. ओम परमेश्वराय नमः. ओम त्रिविक्रमाय नमः. ओम जगद्व्यापिने नमः. ओम जगन्मायाय नमः. ओम जगन्मालाय नमः. ओम जगन्नाथाय नमः. ओम महाकाय नमः. ओम दिव्यदेवनाय नमः. ओम परमात्माय नमः. ओम परमज्योतिने नमः. ओम निर्गुणाय नमः. ओम निर्विशेषणे नमः. ओम परतत्वाय नमः. ओम परधामाय नमः. ओम सच्चिदानंद विग्रहाय नमः. ओम लक्ष्मी नरसिंहाय नमः. ओम सर्वात्माय नमः. ओम धीराय नमः. ओम प्रहलाद पालकाय नमः. ओम उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं जलंधं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं बीजनं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युर्नमाम्यहं जय नृसिंह श्री नृसिंह जय जय श्री नृसिंहदेव प्रह्लादेश जया पद्मा मुख पद्मा भृङ्गा नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने रण्याकाशीपूर्वक्षः शीलटङ्गानकालाये दो नृसिंह परदो नृसिंह यतो यतो यामिदतो नृसिंह पहि नृसिंह हृदये नृसिंह नरसिंहमदीं चरणं प्रपते तव करकमलवरे नः अद्भुतशृङ्गा ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां जयते शवधृता नरहरिरूपा हे जगदीश हरे हे जगदीश हरे हे जगदीश हरे श्री श्री लाल नरसिंहदेव भगवान की श्री श्री जगन्नाथ प्रदेश सुभद्रा महारानी की हरि पहुंचना प्रभु।
Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, இன்று வந்து பீஷ்மதேவருடைய லீலை ஏதாவது நம்ம படிக்கணும்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. So, have you got Tamil version, Prabhu? Bhishmadev is passing away. Say Shurupa, Prabhu.
Maharaj, இன்னைக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் கிளாஸ் சாட்டர்டே சண்டே.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what chapter is that?
9th chapter, man.
Chapter 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam on the occasion of Bhishma Panchaka. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 12. Aho kashtam aho anyayam yad yuyam dharmanandanah jivitum narhata klishtam vipradharma chutashaya. Bhishmadeva said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations. Yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion." Maharaja Yudhishthira was disturbed due to the great massacre in the battle of Kurukshetra. Bhishma Deva could understand this, and therefore he spoke first of the terrible sufferings of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was put into difficulty by injustice only. And the battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. Therefore, he should not regret the real massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected by the Brahmanas, the Lord, and the religious principles. As long as they were protected by these three important items, there was no cause of disappointment. Thus, Bhishma Deva encouraged Maharaj Yudhishthira to dissipate his despondency. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency. However trying the circumstances of life, Bhishma Deva, as one of the authorities in the line, wanted to impress this point upon the Pandavas. I'll read the next shloka also. Samstite atirate pandau pratapala prajavaduhu Yushmat krite bahun kleshan prapta tokapati muhu. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great general Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. The sufferings of Kunti Devi are doubly lamented. She suffered greatly because of early widowhood and to get her minor children brought up in the royal family. And when her children were grown up, she continued to suffer because of her son's actions. So her sufferings continued. This means that she was destined to suffer by providence, and this one has to tolerate without being disturbed. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yat apriyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayuriva gana balihi. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. There is no control by time all over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over the planets. All the big gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable kala or time controls even the action of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme kala, a forceful representative of Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava, following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham mande Shri Gurum Janatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shetaita Gatathar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, this is a beautiful scene from the Mahabharata, and we are seeing that Yudhishthira Maharaj is opening his instructions to the Pandavas by telling, Aho Kashtam, what all difficulties you went through. Aho Kashtam, Aho Kashtam. Several times he's repeating it, because they suffered. And for what reason? Because of being the children of religion, because of being representatives of religion. You have to suffer. It is voluntary suffering that you undertake for the sake of preaching dharma, for the sake of being an example to others on the right side. This is a service that the Pandavas did to Krishna. They upheld dharma. Because they upheld dharma, they were under constant attack. And they withheld that attack. They did not get bewildered. They were influenced, that many people tried to influence them to change their stance. Many people said all sorts of things, but because Krishna was with them all the time, he was also influencing them. His influence was far, far, far greater and more powerful than anybody else's influence. And by nature, the Pandavas were devotees. So they were inclined to follow Krishna's influence. In this way, they were nimitta matram bhavasabhya sachin. They became instruments in the hand of Krishna. The Bhagavatam says that using a thorn, another thorn is taken out. So in the same way, uh, Krishna utilized the Pandavas to actually bring in discipline of dharma, control the asuras, control people like Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and all of them who were so much against devotees and the Lord. So dharma is religious principles. Paro dharma, the topmost religious principle, is of course bhakti, surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in loving devotion. So dharma is like the pathway, and dharma should be held up so that people can peacefully practice Krishna consciousness. There has to be set rules for people to exist in this world. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? That's what is called religion. Religion, dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. These religious codes are actually put in place by the Supreme Lord Himself. It is not somebody's mental speculation. It is not something that you need to consider, think about, and then decide whether you should follow or not. You must follow. Just like if you go into a college to get educated as a doctor or as an engineer, there are rules and regulations for you to be a student. You have to appear in the classes. You have to do your assignments. You have to behave in a particular way. And if you misbehave, you may be sent out of the campus. There are rules and regulations there. If you don't observe them, you'll be pulled up. You will not be given the benefit of education. You're not fit. You're not qualified to be. Similarly, as human beings in human society, we have to follow these codes. Otherwise, we are no more humans. We cannot be included in the community of human beings. You can belong to the animals. You can belong to the other lower class of uncivilized beings. Anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtim karamarjuna. Anarya means uncultured, not an Aryan. So Krishna is asking Arjuna, how can you get these type of thoughts in you that you don't want to do your duty and you want to run away from being a soldier? Anarya jushtam. This is all against religious codes. How did he get these thoughts? Kutasva kashmalam idam vishame samupashtitam anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtim karamarjuna. Kutasva kashmalam idam. From where you got this contamination inside you? So when people don't follow religious code, you should know, who are you? Where are you from? How come you're an alien? You don't know these things? Simple cultural things, simple religious things. So all these things are basically required in human society to be calling yourself a human being. Unfortunately, today people don't care about these religious codes because they are challenging religion. They're challenging the authority of God. Anything that is real, anything that's got a sense of absolutism about it, they would challenge that. They will challenge that. They don't want any authority above at all. They want to be free. That is the perfect paved road for going to hell. The path to hell is paved with roses, is a famous saying. You will think everything is fine because you're free, you have free speech, you can exercise your free will, and you can do what you want. And whoever said that this is right and this is good, for me, this thing looks right and good, I will do it. What appears to me good, I'll do. Whatever I like with my mind, I do. And that may be directly opposite to what somebody else is. So this way, everything will be in utter chaos. If we don't have religious codes, we don't have an absolute authority, and relatively we bounce off that absolute authority and follow the codes of religion. Everywhere in society you have rules. You have rules in the traffic. So when you uphold traffic rules, the policeman, right, he will come under attack by those people who don't want to follow. So law enforcers who are, they're always under attack. But the way people behave, sometimes it is necessary that they have to do certain types of things to keep certain people in order. So especially in Kali Yuga, it is very crazy. People are asking questions like, why I should do this? Because who told you this is a rule? that I should not pee in the open, pass urine in the open in the road. Who told? That's a rule. You can't, open up and this thing. You should not do. You'll be fined if you do it. Right? So there's a rule. But who said so? What is wrong? It's free air, open. This is the best place to defecate. This is the best place to urinate. You may think all these things in your this thing, but there are rules. You can't do it outside. There is a designated place for that. There is a public toilet. Go there and do it. Right? So similarly, there are rules in religion how people should conduct themselves so that you don't step on the toe of somebody else, so you don't inconvenience somebody else, and how they can and you can and all of you can make progress in the real goal of life. That is called religion. That's called religion. So when you uphold religion, people attack you. When you uphold religious codes, people attack you. Because this world is filled with people who have come away from God. And there is every chance that they will be against the authority of God, which is very natural for people in this world. Very, very few people actually want to be under the authority of God. A lot of them are lip servicemen. Vedavada rataha partha. They just give lip service that they're religious. They'll put on all sorts of things on their head, and they look very religious, they dress very religious, but they actually care two hoots for Krishna's words or religious codes. They are following it only for their own sense gratification and for their own material so-called enjoyment and success. And as soon as it militates against it, they'll drop religion, God, everything. So these people are all called Vedavada Rata Partha. They are simply following it for the sake of it and to be known as religious persons. But the Pandavas were just not like that. They knew also parodharma. Right? Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhakti radokshaje. They knew the topmost religious activity is to become a devotee of Krishna. Manmana bhava matbhaktaha matyaji mam namaskuru. That is the end of religion. That's where religion leads to love of God, prema. They knew that. And therefore they were able to follow religious codes properly. When people don't know the real aim of religion, the real goal of religion, the real fruit of religion, then they slowly become mechanical in what they are following. That's what we call smartas. Smartas are people who are very good at following religious codes without understanding the purpose of it. Right? Without understanding the purpose of it. And after some time, they also slowly divert and go away. So Pandavas knew the real purpose of religion, therefore they were able to follow religion codes and be an example to everybody, like Krishna said. You must, as a leader, follow these religious codes, although you know that real religion is transcendental to this also. But for the sake of the people in this world, you must follow. Yad yad acharati sreshtaha tattat evetero janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. This loka, these people are watching you very carefully. If you don't follow it, they also will not follow it. They'll go 10 times down the rung of the ladder. So leaders have to very closely follow this. So this is a sign of a leader that he is following it in spite of it being difficult for him, because he wants to be an example to others. And Maya will try to knock him down so that people will watch. See, there's no use following religion. There's no use believing God. This is what will happen to you. But he doesn't fall down. He gets up again and again and holds the mantle of religion high. There is God. His codes of religion should be followed. It works. If you don't follow, you will suffer. Right now in the pandemic times and COVID times, we have to raise ourselves up, raise the mantle, hold it above and say to people, there is God. And these things can be properly understood and controlled only if we surrender ourselves to God. There is no doubt about it. And God is a reality. He is not some figment of somebody's imagination. It is not a product of the weakness of human beings, like people think and philosophize. No, he's there. So the fact that Bhishma Dev is recognizing Yudhishthira and the Pandavas saying, Aho Kashtam, you people, he liked the Pandavas very much because they were upholding Dharma all the time. And we need people like this in this world. Then only others can see that this is the way to live. And this is what Prabhupada wanted the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to be. A society of people who are ideal in character, who depend on Krishna. They follow the instructions given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. And they live a life, and their lifestyle is based there. People should be able to watch and see. Otherwise, human society will go to hell, because there should be leaders who show by example. So Prabhupada wanted the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, the people inside should be of very high caliber and quality. They should have a high standard. You should never settle down for anything lower, because it will go lower and lower in Kali Yuga. So it's our bounden duty, like even Bhishma Dev is such a scintillating example. How he tries his best to uphold Dharma at all times. Right? So here, his instruction to Yudhishthira is very wonderful. He will give him a lot of instructions, many, many different instructions, which are very interesting. So first of all, he's acknowledging that you suffered because you're standing up for Krishna, you're standing up for religion, you're standing up for the truth. It's not because of you. You are not in any way the reason for these things, right? So Prabhupada is saying, if a person is following Hari, Guru, Vaishnava, and he's keeping up the religious codes, he has no reason for despondency. Whatever is happening, it is happening by Krishna's plan. Because if these things are properly done, then you know whatever is happening is Daiva. It's happening because of the plan of the Lord. So in this way, Bhishma Dev is trying to convince Yudhishthira, who is in great depression, thinking that the outcome of the war is that 600 million people died. The war, the greatest war till now. Nobody has fought such a war, neither World War I or World War II has been like that. Very huge. The whole world is split into two and fought with each other. This is what is the real world war. So 600 million people died, and Yudhishthira was pretty morose, said, I could have, who bothers about a kingdom? I don't want to be an emperor. That was his mode. Even Arjuna was thinking, I don't want this kingdom. He said, what will I do with this? Tainted with blood of my relatives. I don't want it. So these people are not very greedy. They were not at all greedy. They were very noble Kshatriyas. They were only fighting for dharma according to Krishna's order. They were not wanting to fight for themselves and for their own gratification. This is the meaning of a real religious person. He understands very well. Real religion is Krishna, and therefore I should do this. So Bhishma Dev is a brilliant example, a wonderful example of tolerance, patience, execution of religious codes under any situation and circumstances. So we are all going through Kartik month, Bhishma Panchaka, and we are all following certain vrata, not because anybody is telling us, it's for my own good. I am accountable to myself. In religious codes, mostly a lot of it is based on your own self, because you can do many things while people are not watching. And you can pose to be somebody whom you are not. This is one of the greatest impediments, because this is one of Maya's greatest tricks, is to affect you internally. So don't worry, nobody outside knows. That's how it starts. It starts by first rotting from inside. So accountability inside is very important to ourselves, right? That's why a religious man is not simply an externally religious man, which we see nowadays in Kali Yuga is very common. People try to be spiritual people, they try to be spiritual leaders, and they have a particular type of a format, and they look in a particular way, and they concentrate so much and focus so much on things outside. And inside, they're boka, zero. And their own following, they don't do. They don't control even their little tongue. They can't do. Many of these great people, they don't have a sadhana they follow. They want everybody else to follow. So if you probe a little bit into the lives of some of these people, you will see it is boka, it is useless. But if you see the life of a devotee, even in somewhere in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, somewhere, you'll see each one of them is very eagerly chanting Hare Krishna and praying to Krishna. and lamenting that I have got this particular, problem. And because of that, I'm not get pure bhakti. And they're very deeply praying to Krishna and becoming accountable to their own Krishna consciousness. So you can rely on such people because they are inside out accountable. But people who, because they sometimes they say this is so subjective, how can I assess somebody's faith? No, if a person has got that accountability inside and he's got that faith, it will manifest itself outside. It doesn't matter if people don't like that person because obviously he's speaking the truth. If you speak the truth, many people won't like you. This world is a place which is based on duplicity. Everybody mostly wants to keep in touch with those people who agree with their duplicity. It's a network of duplicitous people, very duplicitous, right? And externally they help each other. And in this way they contribute to Maya's kingdom. But a devotee, he says, no, I will do what is right, even though there are people against me. Because this is Krishna's instruction. And this is Prabhupada's instruction. I will do that. This, he stands very strongly on that pillar. And you will see that there are people who definitely attack you. Jesus Christ spoke the truth. People attacked him. Even the same religious people crucified him. It's the Jews who crucified him. Same way, the Brahmanas are the ones who spoiled the whole Vedic culture in human society in India because they collaborated with the Britishers. They gave them all the internal secrets of what the conclusion is. And then they allowed the Britishers to hit at the root of culture, of Vedic culture. So you will see most of the places, the so-called religious heads are the greatest enemies of real religion. It is the Jews who got hold of Jesus Christ, told the Romans, where is Jesus Christ? And revealed who is Jesus Christ. And they were able to take him into custody. And they are the ones who said that we want him crucified. Because this man is spoiling our idea of religion, which is anyway false, and it's a very, very corrupted understanding. Mostly interested in occupying positions of order in the religious section, exerting power. So we find this guy to be a great Rastika Kanta, as they say, for our ambitions and our fulfillment. So put him to death. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Jesus Christ bore all that. But his intention was to lead people to God. And that happened by Krishna's arrangement. He knew that I am just an instrument. This is the correct way to understand Jesus Christ's crucifixion, his resurrection, and everything. He was an instrument, and because of seeing him on the cross, because of seeing his life history like this, many people knew from inside that this is true. He is talking to us about God, which is true. In fact, after he got crucified is when the Christianity movement started. It grew into so huge, the world's largest religion. It's based on the fact that Jesus Christ upheld God. He didn't say God is impersonal. He didn't say God is not got a form. He directly said there is God. He's a person, you can relate with him. You have to learn to love him. But of course, over a period of time, it was translated into something else. So similarly, Jagai and Madhai, worst people, Nityananda Prabhu went to tell them to chant Hare Krishna, and they attacked him. And repeatedly, you will see, even in the Krishna consciousness movement, devotees who are sincerely trying to do something will find a lot of challenges that Maya puts in front. But he knows this is Maya's challenge, but Krishna is with me and he upholds. It does not matter if I'm even crucified. I will continue to speak the truth in Krishna consciousness. This is the determination of the Pandavas. They were very determined, and they got strength from their religious performance. They got strength from them being devotees. They got strength from themselves being truthful. And it was so powerful a strength that Duryodhana could not defeat it. He could not do anything to it, whatever he tried. Finally, Pandavas were victorious. They were victorious. And even Bhishmadeva is down because Bhishmadeva only revealed to the Pandavas how to kill me because I am invincible. Even the great Parashurama agreed that Bhishma is a wonderful fighter. He agreed that he is superior. So how will they be able to put down Bhishma? So Yudhishthira and Arjuna and all of them discussed, and Yudhishthira went and asked, "You're the greatest impediment for us to win this war. You've already blessed us that we will have victory. So how will he kill you?" He went and asked directly. And Bhishma Dev initially said, "I'll tell you in due course of time when the time comes." And the time came. And then Yudhishthira asked how to do it. He said, "Yes, bring Shikandi in front." Shikandi is a woman, Amba, from previous life, right? And she has come to kill me, and through her only I will die. So put her in front. If there is a woman in front of me, I'll not lift arms. I don't lift as a Kshatriya arms against a woman. It's wrong dharma. Therefore, you put her in the front and you shoot me from behind. I'll die. This was the plan he gave. And true to that, it happened and he fell down. Arjuna shot a bevy of arrows at him. So he followed dharma and he fell down. So does it mean don't follow dharma? No. They all know that I did my bit for Krishna. So every one of us has to, if not be like, Bhishma and great Jesus Christ and everything, they definitely have to follow dharma to some extent, never compromise. So kashtam will be there. The kashtam is a custom for a devotee. It is customary. It is not just that you should get afraid of this. In Lord Chaitanya's movement, you want to have kashtam also. You don't have kashtam also. You just dance, chant, take prasadam, have festivals, and include everybody in it very easily. They become Krishna conscious. So it's not so much. Sometimes people challenge us, and because it's Lord Chaitanya's movement is personally protected by the Lord, right? So we don't have to worry much. So Bhishma Dev and his utterances in the Bhagavatam to Yudhishthira Maharaj, the Pandavas, is very wonderful because he concludes in saying that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Samam Bonam, the source of everything, and he is already in your house as your cousin. You have to worry nothing. You have to worry nothing. You're already performing because you're such nice souls. You're so dharmic souls. And you'll have no problem getting the mercy of Krishna and perfecting life and achieving. So if people like you rule, then the whole country, the whole nation, the whole globe will become Krishna conscious. So Bhishma Dev died very happily that Yudhishthira Maharaj is installed on the throne. He actually died very happily, peacefully. Otherwise, he was so worried about who will come, what they'll do, how they'll lead the people. He was very concerned. When he finally knew that Yudhishthira Maharaj has won the war and he's going to take, he was very happy. It doesn't matter that I am leaving. It's time for me to leave anyway. But hearing that you have, won the favor of Lakshmi Devi, won the favor of Krishna, I am so happy. Dharma is in the right hands. I was very happy, right? So this way we can understand the greatness of Bhishma Deva, who understood internally what Krishna was thinking and why he was doing, for what reason he was doing what he was doing. Everything of Krishna has got a plan. It may not make sense to us. Many times we try to dissect, trisect, and try to, open it up and try to discuss these matters. Don't have to. You don't have to always, right? So, in this month of Bhishma Dev, in this 5 days of Bhishma Dev, we have to take blessings from Lord and from Bhishma Deva, that we may have that type of determination. We may be exemplary, and Krishna should give us the strength to be exemplary. And we may preach the cult of Krishna consciousness so that everybody understands this and they follow in the footsteps of Bhishma Deva. So that's why some of us in ISKCON are performing austerity in these days and remembering Bhishma Deva and his instructions, remembering Krishna and his instructions, reading the Bhagavata so that we may become purified, we may get that added credit of Krishna consciousness in our bank balance. And in this way, we'll become clear, fearless, and execute the goal of life. Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. I will stop here, a short class. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. No questions? Okay. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.